Hello everybody and welcome back to Hidden Treasures. We're back. This is the live show brought to you from the Natural History Museum where we take you behind the scenes of the museum. And I'm your host, Connor, as always. But we're here for a special one-off episode where we're joined by an extra special co-host, Mitzi Jonelle Tan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is going to be very exciting because we're also here to see Erica McAlister in the fly collection right now, because that was the person that you wanted to see more of. So really, really special episode here today. I think we should get moving and go to meet her, So Mitzi is here this week because we have a program going on at the museum called Generation Hope, in which we're empowering people to take action for the planet. And Mitzi is the international spokesperson and convener for Youth Advocates for Climate Action Philippines, and is also on our Generation Hope advisory board. So how's it been so far and what are you looking forward to?
Oh, it's been so great. We've been having the past few weeks just panels, workshops, and on Friday there's going to be some intimate one-on-one conversations with some activists, me included. And on Saturday I'm excited because there's a mural painting and I'm really excited for that. So hopefully we get to see some of you guys there.
It's a really, really exciting week. And yeah, if you want to come, the tickets are all free. You just go to our website and go on the Generation Hope page. You can book online in advance. But today, back to the show, we've got a real simple format for this one-off. We're live. And it's up to you watching along at home what you want to see, what specimens we look at, and what questions you want to ask Erica, and we'll be pitching them to her. And make sure you stick around to the very end of the episode because I've got a very special announcement about what's coming up for the future of Hidden Treasures. But without further ado, let's meet Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us today. How are you doing?
Marvellous.
Excellent. Right, so you've got a few specimens for us, but you've also got a mystery specimen that some people might have already had a look at. Would we be able to take a look at that on the visualizer?
Of course.
Excellent. And yeah, so we're looking at a mystery specimen now for everyone watching along, and keep your guesses coming through. We've already had some guesses already on what this could be.
Ooh, it's cute, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah. So we'll be getting that up on screen in a moment. We've already had tons of guesses. We've got from Coast219 on YouTube, we've got maggot spiracles, from peppers and glowworms, we've got a cranefly larva's butt, potentially. And then from Dolphin Lover, they think it's a full frontal of the head of an insect larvae. And then we've had tons of guests on Instagram as well. But Mitzi, do you have any guesses what that could be?
I've been thinking about it and knowing Erica, is it a penis?
It's not a penis. I don't know why you say that, Mitzi. In fact, it hasn't even got any genitalia.
Okay, interesting. So we've had other guesses on Instagram. Maggot. Okay.
Ooh.
So I think we should go with the maggot, because yes, it is a maggot. So when we talk about maggots with flies, everyone just, it's what we think about with the higher flies. So your big chunky house flies, your flesh flies, and your bot flies.
Okay.
So whoever said crane fly,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
because they're a completely different type of flies. So this is a botfly. Now somebody obviously knows me because they realise, although look at a little cutie little smile, it's got a little face.
Yeah.
That is the bottom.
That's okay, right.
Oh,
I thought
yes.
that was like Thomas the Tank Engine's face.
Yeah, no, that little. So these little eyes are actually spiracles. So somebody did mention
Okay,
it.
yes.
So they do breathe out of their bottoms.
Okay. Very
Well, it makes
goodness
sense
me.
because think about it. What do you do with your mouth?
Eating.
Eating.
Yes.
Now try doing that without. Don't do this at home. If you try and do this without breathing, you pass out. Now that whole stage is
Oh, so they can just keep going.
just keep eating. So that's actually the head end, which looks. There you go. Absolutely nothing going on. But there, underneath,
Yeah.
that little black bit, those are little mouth hooks.
Ah.
So they would just do that, scraping away at their food. And because this is a botfly,
Yes.
this is one that lives in the nostrils of a, what is this one? This is of a hartebeest. So these are ones that live in the nostrils of antelopes. So I affectionately call these snot pots.
Snot
pots.
pots.
Yes.
So what do they don't eat the snot, do they?
Well, some of the snot,
Okay.
but they're more likely to attach to the lining of your nostrils I know, it's great, isn't it? And then how they get out is possibly the
So
best
good.
thing, because they will irritate you, and then you would just sneeze them all out.
I've got a few questions in from our audience already. We did have another guest from Dinos Are the Best, great username. Is it a fly gut? It's not, we've established.
But to be fair, so this is the whole
good guess.
bit is basically one massive gut at this point.
Okay.
So
sort of right.
yeah, so they've got massive
Dinosaurs are the
saliva.
best.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Well, that
Flies
leads me
are
on
the
to
best,
another
but
question from See You Later Alligator. And they've said flies are annoying. So my question is, what do they do?
now even you know what is the
I know
most.
why.
Yeah, come on, what is the most important thing about flies?
They're pollinators.
And what do they pollinate?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
I feel like I'm on a quiz.
So if you don't want flies, you get to say goodbye to chocolate.
This isn't me asking this.
I'm
by
just
the way. It's one of our
saying.
lovely viewers.
Not only are they incredibly beautiful, they're really important. So they're basically ecosystem engineers. They go out, they're organic, they're hipsters.
Yeah.
They're you know, decomposers, they're getting rid of that. And just like these look really fat and junky, they're just protein packed. And that's one of the things, there's a species of fly that actually is probably going to save us on the planet.
Ooh,
Do you want to
can
have
we
a look
see
at
that?
it?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Did you say protein packed?
Yeah, so we are the larval stage, because they're basically all they're doing is eating. So, and they're just storing it for the adult stage. And the adult stage is very short-lived. They have basically one purpose, and the rest of it is all about. Oh, I'm in the wrong one.
Could you eat these flies?
Yes, and in fact I have, and you may be, and our cats and dogs will soon be all eating them. And they are social engineers. They're very good. They're helping solve many of our climate problems.
Excellent.
Ooh.
I can't wait to see this one.
I know, it's a
Yeah.
tall
I'm
order for
excited for
one
this one.
species of fly.
Wow.
So this is them.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like a little army of flies. And this is the adult stage, and it's not actually the adult stage that we necessarily care about. It's these larval stages here. And this is the black soldier fly. Okay, and what we're doing is we're breeding these up in factories now, and we're converting them to protein to feed to our livestock and to also feed to our fish and all these sorts of things going on there. So that's why they're really good, because they're 40% protein, 30% fat, and they don't require any water, and they can feed off our waste.
What do they taste like?
Well, people get a bit fussy about eating insects. I mean, it's fine. And 2/3 of the world, we're all happy eating insects.
Yeah.
One tiny bit of it, we're like a bit fussy. They're just land prawns. You know, that's how you got to think about it.
Yeah.
But
I like that, yeah.
I know. But what we're doing now is we grind up their larvae to make powder. So you can have it in pasta. You can make all sorts of things like this. So you actually don't know. And
Does
it's really
does the powder have a taste?
Nope.
So you can just add it into something?
Yeah, garlic. Just put garlic on anything.
Wow.
You'll find
Yeah.
Just love it.
That's incredible. And so this is being done already, and it's being
Yes,
scaled
so
up?
we've got some factories in the UK. In
Okay.
fact, I've got some of their larvae poo for
Right.
my tomatoes. It's very good, thank you very much. And so yeah, we're doing that. So you can buy cat food and dog food already, which is really
seen
good.
that, yeah.
So just think about all the resources instead of having overfishing and doing things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that. And because you're feeding it your waste, you have this tiny little cycle that's really good. So it's good for the environment. So you think about communities in the middle of nowhere. They can set up their own little factory. And that's it, and create protein. It's brilliant.
That's fantastic.
It
Everyone watching on, make sure you keep on sending through your questions. We had a question come through actually saying, what would happen if we completely lost flies?
It would be horrible. I mean, one of the things that flies do that we don't like, the decomposition, is they get rid of our waste. So imagine if we had a world, it would just be,
With the flies,
it wouldn't be
it'd be
nice,
a bit
would it?
mucky.
It would be
Yeah.
quite mucky. And a
Yeah.
lot of dead bodies everywhere.
Lovely, yeah, couldn't really do with that, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of dead bodies that much.
No.
I think we
very
keep the flies
grateful for
around.
flies.
Yeah, I think we keep the
very,
flies
very
around.
grateful for flies. So yeah, might be a little bit annoying if they're buzzing around you, but really, really
But
useful.
humans are even more annoying buzzing
I would,
around.
yes, I would agree with
So,
that.
and flies do a lot of really important things, the whole pollination things. And luckily, We have loads of flies that turn up each spring and bring them over here and meeting our locals and doing what these flies do best. And producing not only billions of pollinators, but they're all producing little, what I call biological warfare units. So these...
Do we have these ones to show?
Yes, we do.
I'd love to see these ones, yes. Okay, let's go through and you can follow us. So, Mitzi, maybe if we come round to here.
So here's some I prepared earlier.
Excellent.
Right. So these are called Episurface Bultiatus, but don't panic. You can also just call them the marmalade hoverfly. And there's some brilliant work that's been coming out recently looking at the migratory species. And it's this little one here, which is basically... So there are a lot of them are migrating from Iran, across the Mediterranean, places like that. They're turning up here, and then their larvae, instead of decomposing in this, they feed on aphids and whitefly.
Right.
Ooh.
So they help with all our crops and everything. So they're amazing. And there's billions of them turn up. Apparently it's the equivalent of 20,000 reindeer. So Santa came with his, what, 8?
Yeah.
Just a little bit more than Santa coming over here and helping us out, which is rather nice.
That's so useful.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Do you think we'd be able to pop it under there? Will we be able to see it in a bit more detail?
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
Do you have a favorite fly, Erica?
Kind of.
Are you allowed to have favorites with flies?
Well, this is it. I can't tell them, can I? So there we go. It's like, when your parents said, we have no favourite children. We so do. Yeah, I probably do. Actually, one of them is here.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Nice and fuzzy.
It's a fuzzy fly. It's a male. You can tell it's got massive genitalia. And this is a robber fly. Okay, and this is Lafria flava. It's, we caught these up in the Cairngorms, which is a beautiful area.
Yeah.
And I love these because a lot of them, even the females, have moustaches.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so, but they're vicious predators. Yeah, and they're highly venomous. So there's one there.
Yeah, you keep it around your neck.
Yeah,
Is
The
that like
venomous
a
fly.
warning thing?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Yeah. But I think they're wonderful. And, apex predators. When we think about predators, we think about all the big stuff. And it's no, there's carnage and mayhem going on at a small scale. And then the other ones that I adore, who can't.
No.
These are the bee flies. And what's really nice is they're just about to emerge. So everybody can go and look in their gardens now and see what's going on because they're amazing.
And what do they do?
These, they eat baby bees.
They eat baby bees?
Is that
why they look like bees?
They look a little bit like bees. Is that how they get them?
No, they are their larvae, which look a little bit like leeches. The little larvae will just crawl down into the solitary bee's nest and then would start feasting on a little baby bee. But it's just nature.
Yes.
But the adults are really good pollinators, and then they're adorable. And she's got a little bum bag, and so she twerks to get soil into her bum bag. And you can see this in your garden. And it's lovely. It's why I'm late from the next month into work, because I'm just watching these things.
Bees.
Yeah, so they're really cute.
We've had another question in from James. Thank you for watching, James. And this is jumping back to what we were talking about before. He was asking if there's any part of the larvae that we can't use. So probably going back to talking about the protein and
We can even use the pupal stage, which is the bit where they completely change their, almost completely change their morphology from, this legless little creature into the adult. So that, again, that's a really good protein stage. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's perfect. The black soldier fly will save the world.
Yes.
In every level, like climate, food waste, everything.
Yeah, no, it's great, isn't it? And just think that's just one of the 165,000 described species so far of fly.
Yeah.
When we start understanding all of the different things, and we'll be like, so people always focus on the vectors, which are obviously quite important. And, I'm not going to negate that some flies are quite, they themselves aren't the problem, but what they transmit is. But there's in many ways, actually, a lot of the flies are going to be complete opposite, and they're going to be so fundamentally useful.
I mean, on that note, we've had some more questions in about how can we help bring insects and flies back a bit if they've been facing a bit of loss.
Well, this is what we were talking about all week with this, climate action and things like that. But there's obviously there's a huge, we need a top-down approach, but we can do some bottom-up things. There's some things individually that we can all do. And one of the things I encourage people, I live in South London, and everyone thinks, oh, there's no nature. There's loads of nature, but there could be more if you just let some of the local native plants grow.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a big thing. Don't go buying plants from abroad or whatever. Take the local, because that's how these have evolved alongside them. That's really important. Any pond, be it a bucket, be it big, ponds are really important because that's where most of the larvae are living. And everyone will like it because my pond's now full of newts, thanks to how many larvae as well. So you can see all these added benefits of getting all these different creatures in.
Aww.
Well, we've had a question as well about, they're just saying they think you're an inspiration, Mitzi, and they love your passion, Erica, so that's really kind. But also, what is the fly kind of biodiversity like at the moment in the UK? Is it quite diverse, I guess, considering the world, or is it on the decline?
So there's about 7,000 species. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's precise 7,124, something like that. I don't know. We're still adding new species all the time, which is great. Put that in comparison, that's more than the number of mammals described on the planet.
Wow.
Okay. So they're called mega diverse. I think you can see why. But they're also part of the dark taxa, which I love. Because we just don't know enough about them yet, and we know there's a lot more to describe. So there's loads of better me's running around identifying everything and doing all of this, and we're adding all this data, and so people can see what's going on in climate change, they can understand what's going on, and we can start to hopefully mitigate against it, which is the big thing.
Yeah. It would be great to take a look at something else here. Under the visualizer. Mitzi, do you want to pick one out?
This one.
Yes.
The pretty one.
The pretty one.
And I know it's important.
Yes. So this is, these are your green bottles and your blue bottles, and this is what everyone sees hanging around their pet food, and they're like, this is what hangs around the food. Now, okay, so it will come to decomposing meat, things like that, and that's why these ones are detectives. So these are the ones we use in forensic entomology. So if some sort of nefarious, horrible crime has been undertaken, these are the first to turn up at the scene. And they have been tracked to travel kilometres. So there's no, don't think you can get away with any crime. Because these things can sniff out anything, and that's why they're amazing. So, and then the little females, the mothers, driven to make sure they have the best food for their babies. Yep, they would turn up and they'll squirt their larvae all over it or lay their eggs everywhere. And we now have learned how we can identify, age them. And so we're able to tell you all sorts of details about the crime, which is really useful.
Is there a way for this fly to not go towards a body?
Not really. So, I mean...
I'm stuck.
Yes. Excellent. We should talk later. I'll give you hints and tips. You've never seen an ex of mine. It's all right. So, they're really useful things.
We've had a question going back to, I think people are really interested about the use of flies as a food source and stuff. Brian's asking that he's heard of fly burgers but not quite convinced. Would either of you try one? I guess would I try one as well?
You've eaten thousands of insects. I'm just going to tell you that nobody has not eaten insects. The Food Standard Authority, they give a list of how many insects per products you can have.
Yeah.
So chocolate has got loads of bits of insect in it.
Wait, accidentally?
Yeah.
Because they're just hing about all
just,
the time.
It's frozen vegetables. Yeah, frozen cauliflower. It's completely covered. So you've eaten loads.
Okay.
But I've eaten loads of insects on purpose.
I would. This little guy looks kind of
I think
juicy.
A bit of garlic.
Yeah.
I know it's lunchtime, and I'm like, should we just? And 2/3 of the world do eat. It's a really good, sustainable protein.
Yeah.
So there's this Kai borrowed this fly, this tiny little midge that emerges in millions. You know, you see all these midge-nados, as they're called. And a lot of people would just gather them up, squash them together into these fly patties. We've got some in the collection.
Oh.
No, they're really old.
I thought I could take it right now.
I'm not tempted by that. But yeah, there's loads of different ways we can eat them.
That's, thank you so much for that question. Just on my personal level, I think I give it a go. Yeah, like if there's already tons of people in the world that do it, so yeah.
I mean, it's silly that it's just a small animal. And I think because we call them insects, we separate them from what we think of animals, that we're kind of writing off 85% of the fauna of the planet.
We've got a really cool kind of suggestion here as well. Are there any flies in the collection that are from the Philippines, potentially?
Ooh.
Loads.
Yeah.
Don't ask me where they are.
Okay.
there's loads of species. So
how many, on estimate, do you think are in there?
Well, the Philippines is a biodiversity hotspot. I mean, this is why I'm hello, I must come and look at your flies. So it's incredible. And there's lots of amazing biodiversity initiatives going on in the Philippines at the moment. So it's great. And there will be lots of historic specimens here from that. And what we're trying to do now is we're trying to digitise the collection. And that's one of the big museum drives. And this is really useful. So we have all this material, but we can now give you all the data for free. You know, it's paying back. It's like, here you go. So all of this will be online, it'll be free, it'll be available for everyone to go, what have we got? Because then you could just type in the Philippines and then bish bash bosh, all of these specimens come out.
I think that's really cool because you get to have these data and science really accessible to more places and more countries especially that don't have these infrastructures.
Yeah, because the expense of coming here, doing all of this, it's expensive to keep these sort of collections, you know. This is our legacy, we are going to pay for this, we're going to look after it, but give it to everybody. So it is brilliant.
On that note, we've had a really lovely question in from Lemon Basil. Thank you everyone for your amazing questions. But yeah, Lemon Basil was saying that she sees you as an inspiration, and where you find hope in the world, just while we're talking about Generation Hope as well. And what's one thing that you could say? Let me get this right. What would you say to get kids to do one thing for the planet? And I want to pitch that to both of you.
One thing I would say to get kids to do something for the planet. That's a hard one. One thing. One thing,
to narrow it down to one thing. Erica, maybe there's something around flies.
Well, the thing is, I would throw it back at them saying it's not just for the planet, you're doing it for yourself. Because it is your environment, so you want to live in a nicer one.
I mean, we're all part of the ecosystem. We're all
part of
biodiversity,
people are part of the ecosystem.
So exactly. So just tiny things. Turn the tap off. You know, just something totally small and whatever. But
create ponds for the larvae.
Create ponds.
I would actually ask them what they think about saving the planet, because oftentimes kids are actually a lot more observant, like to look at nature, and so they probably already care more than a lot of adults. So I think it's just giving them those tools once you ask them, do you care about the planet? And they're probably going to say yes, and then just tell them how they can do it, right?
Yeah, I think that's an amazing idea, Definitely the most creative people I've ever spoken to have all been children. So
we never grew up here. So
we've also had another comment from Tam Jammy saying that people eat decomposing meat and cow's innards as a general kind of staple, especially in traditional UK diets, I know. So they'd rather eat flies. So thank you for that. I think we've still got a few more minutes. It'd be great to have a look at another specimen and circle back round to having a final look at that mystery specimen as well.
What is this one?
Okay, this is the one that always no, this is good because it's the one where everyone goes, oh my God, it's these massive killer mosquitoes. They're going to drain our blood. And we get the press every year going, these, and all around the world. And they're like, and this is again why you need people like us who can identify things. Because we're like, no, it's a crane fly. Okay, and it hasn't even, it looks a bit like, it's a bit wobbly, sorry. So it's got these like long palps, and then it's called a long palped crane fly. These things are notorious for losing their legs. How many legs has it got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. So that's not bad.
That's doing quite well.
We're meant to have 6, but they're designed that if a bird grabs them, they lose their legs. So I've seen some flying around with just 2 legs.
Do they regrow legs like
No.
lizards regrow tails?
So don't go pulling the legs off.
I wasn't planning on doing it.
Okay.
Where do you usually see these?
Everywhere. And so these, they kind of like, a lot of them were like more dank habitats, a little bit, you know, where my natural habitat. But you can get them absolutely everywhere. A lot of them will live, their larvae are, so somebody mentioned cranefly larvae. So
Yes.
yeah, again, their bottoms are brilliant. We identify that they look like tiny little faces, loads of little Tamagotchi faces.
Aww.
They're really cute. So go in the garden, dig up a bit of the lawn. Parents, you're going to love me. And you can find these little larvae and just have a little look at their bums because they're really cute.
And we're not supposed to chew them off after.
No.
That's not a good reminder.
Good to establish.
So
Yeah.
it's the anniversary of Jurassic Park, isn't it?
It is. 30
Yes,
years.
because they bless them in their opening things. One of his staff.
Yeah, John Hammond's cane.
It's got a crane fly and not a mosquito. Honestly, we tutted in the audience.
Why do you think they did that? Because it's bigger.
65 years.
So it looks like it's prehistoric or
Yeah,
something.
and then when they had a mosquito, it was a male. You know, they don't blood feed.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Everyone knows that.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, we all knew that. We all knew that. Yeah.
So all the boys are vegetarian.
Oh.
So yeah.
Fantastic. It would be. Oh, we've got another question in for you, Erica. Is it still good to collect flies if they're in decline?
We have to, and sadly, I mean, we don't. This is a really a lot of people going, "Why are you killing this? Why are you killing it?" There's been several things. So first off, the amount that we collect is minute in comparison to the average person using chemicals.
Yeah.
So you know, we've got to be, but also we still need to describe what's there.
Yeah.
And we need a baseline to understand. And even though the UK is one of the most described countries in the world, we don't know what's going on. We're still adding new species of flies to the list. And how we identify these? We're getting back to our genitalia. So we will have to, like this, look at the size of these things. It's quite, can you see the tininess? There we go.
Yeah.
But we will identify a lot of these by their genitalia. So I don't think my eyesight, your eyesight, anyone's eyesight.
Glasses on.
Even with glasses, I think you may be struggling. So yeah, but then they are kept in the collection. And we are now being able to go back and we're looking at specimens 100 years old or so. We've got new and novel techniques to get loads of new data out of them. So they're always being used. So that's quite nice.
Thank you. And then we've got another question that's just come through, and then we'll circle back to the mystery specimen. Does the Philippines have specific climate change issues, just like we do have here in the UK? I guess that's one for yourself, and maybe something you might see reflected in the collections as well.
Definitely something that the Philippines experiences a lot are typhoons and flooding. So it's both the extreme weather events, but also the infrastructure and systemic problems that we're not able to adapt, we're not able to have science-based adaptation measures, and then you also have the heat waves, which are causing problems with crops, and just a general lack of awareness about the climate crisis means that people aren't able to be empowered to join the actions and change policies as well.
Right, yeah. And I guess that part about awareness is a thing that maybe here in the UK we're having a lot more of, but yeah, it's still kind of a bit of a struggle back in the Philippines.
Yeah, because while we are one of the most vulnerable countries in the world to the climate crisis, the way that climate change is taught to us is very technical and foreign, and it doesn't talk about the experiences that we have back home. And I think that is actually a problem in most of biodiversity scientific conversations, where it's not contextualized to people's experiences, and that's why you think that you're so separate from nature. You're so separate from certain issues because they're not taught about how it affects people, how it influences our lives and how we influence their lives.
So by having, as you said, digitising the collection, especially when we're talking about the flies from the Philippines, that could probably help as well.
Yeah, no, massively, because we can actually go back and say, you had these species then, where are they now?
Yeah.
We can show all these dramatic, and it's really sad to know that probably we have unidentified material in this collection that may be extinct. And that's a really sad thought. And this is more than likely to be happening in some cases. So Yeah, but it's really useful that we hurry up and get ourselves digitized to enable us to add to helping understand climate change.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. One last really quick question, and this is quite a nice one to wrap it up. So we've had the question, when did flies originate? And specifically, did they actually date back as far back as, e.g., the Brachiosaurus in Jurassic Park 145 million years ago?
They're older than that.
Older than that?
Yeah.
Thank you for that
so
question.
So they're about, I think they're 230 to 260 million years ago. I can't remember. There's some fossil larvae. They're quite old.
Okay.
So, but they're still finding new, because a lot of the larvae, you think, because they're soft bodies, they don't preserve well. So you either get them a lot as fossils or in amber.
Right.
So the mosquitoes in amber.
Yeah.
So and we do have a lovely collection here of amber insects, which the curator won't let me have. It's like, no, you have these ones, like those are my ones. But yeah, they go back. So they don't go back as far as a lot of the very primitive dinosaurs and things like that, but they're still around.
Wow, incredible. And yeah, let's just bring it back with can we have another look at the mystery specimen and get the full lowdown on what we've got here?
It's just the little faces, look at them. Look at them. Yeah, they're the bottoms.
But that's the bottoms, yeah.
I know. But it's quite sweet, you're working away on your desk and then all these little faces are like, go on, Erica, carry on digitising with the day.
Did you say they were botfly larvae?
Botflies.
So what is that?
Oostradidae. So so we've got some in the UK, you'll be glad to know. So we can get our own botflies. The ones we've got in the UK are sheep nasal botflies, and then we've got some horse botflies as well.
So botflies specifically, why are they associated with animals?
Because they're endoparasites.
Okay.
So there's 3 different types. There's the snot bots, which the actual human botfly, which you get in Central and South America, that's subdermal. Okay, so that's really funky because the adults, this is a botfly adult. This is one of the types. They're quite big, chunky, fluffy creatures. Okay, it's quite hard for them to sneak up on us. Yeah. So what a lot of them would do is they would catch a mosquito or catch a horsefly, something like that, lay their eggs on them. And so when the mosquito comes up, the change in temperature causes the eggs to hatch and drop down.
Into your arm.
Yes!
And you want that.
It would be quite cool, wouldn't it? A really nice holiday souvenir. What have you brought back? I got a botfly. Yeah. Well, apparently it's at night when it's all quiet, you can hear them munching away on you.
I'd rather go back to eating the flies than having them eat me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? You'll be sitting there, snack time, and just pop out a little botfly.
Getting a bit gruesome. We've got just a couple more questions have come through. I'd love to ask you if we've got time. So we've got a question: what are the key things need to identify a fly as opposed to anything else they could look like, maybe?
Okay, so a fly is a type of insect, and what differentiates a fly from the other types of insects? Now, the problem with flies is they're very sneaky.
Okay,
so I'm going to tell you, obviously. So it's easier on the crane fly. I'm not sure we can get this onto the visualizer.
You did mention it had 5.5 legs, but it was meant to have 6
right.
earlier.
So you've got 3 pairs of legs, which make it an insect, and you've got a head, thorax, and abdomen that make it an insect. 1 pair of wings makes it a fly. So hence the order name Diptera, Diptera, 2 wings. It's also got these little. Here, you see these balancing organs coming out the side. There, yeah. They're the halters. And they're its balancing organs. And maybe that's why they're some of the best flies on the planet. And they all have, as adults, suctorial mouth parts. So you can't ever be bitten by a fly. You can be sliced and squirted and maimed and pierced.
So wait. So they don't have, can you explain how their mouths look then, if we could see them up close?
I can't because, they've got, it depends which fly you're talking about.
If they can't bite you, then how's that work?
They just stab through. And in fact, a mosquito, when she's stabbing you, sorry, honey. I shouldn't do that. Don't do that at home, everyone. She's basically tiny serrated edges, and it's like a pneumatic drill. So she's able to penetrate your skin with so much less force. And this again, we're thinking about with bio-inspired technology. So the development of these smart needles, so you may hate the mosquito in some ways, but it's but
it's an active
very
collection.
but it's very useful. So we're looking at them. Yeah, I know. And underneath your skin, it is able to sniff out your blood, so it can move around its mouth parts.
Inside the skin.
Yeah.
Ah, that's what happens when mosquitoes bite you.
Yeah,
every
or
single
pierce
time.
you. Yep.
Oh, right, pierce you.
Yeah, it's only the females though, the mothers.
So we
that,
shouldn't
they
call
don't
them
bite.
mosquito bites.
Well, it's really hard because even I do after one.
Mosquito
sounds kind of
piercing.
cooler.
And some of the horseflies, they slice and they lap up the pooling blood, which is quite graphic. I really.
We've really delved right back
Yeah.
into the gruesome details again. On that note, Autumn thinks that the maggots are also really cute. So thank you very much, Autumn.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question and then we're going to have to end. So James is asking, what chemicals are still in use that are hurting fly populations the most? And are there alternatives that we could lobby for?
I would suggest that we think about moving away from chemicals full stop. Because that's one of the things, unintended consequences, we're seeing more and more. And every time we introduce a new chemical, it's like, hold on. We don't really have targeted chemicals as such like that. So what we're looking at now is pheromones and things like that. So we are trying to attract certain good insects in and repel certain other insects to go away. So we're using their own chemistry, and that's a really nice thing we're trying to develop.
And when we use these chemicals, they're not good for people in other parts of other biodiversity things too, right?
Exactly. I mean, we've known about this for how many years? When the Silent Spring came out and kind of awakened the world to this, what was going on, and yet we're still carrying on. So yeah, we have to be very careful. We just need more of them to do what they do.
Yeah.
Because they do it really well.
Yeah. If we let nature take its course, life will find a way.
We just need to stop messing around with things.
Yeah, and it's really nice to sit in your garden when all of this stuff is going on, because it is quite fun to just watch the crazy behaviour of 9% of these.
I'm going to remember to do that in the Philippines, just sit down and watch flies.
Yeah.
My mom might start wondering
my
about
neighbours
my
are like,
sanity.
oh, she's there again. Sitting there. Yeah, it's all right.
And that's definitely something that you could do as well. Like, just take a moment out and have like a local safari, basically.
Do you know what? You'd also be helping science by doing that, because anytime you take photos, you can add those records. You yourself, anyone can help us, and all of this data is so important.
That's so cool, and I think we'll probably end on that. So I'm going to leave you to it, and Mitzi, I'm going to leave you with Erica as well.
I'm going to keep looking at them.
Yeah, keep having a look at the flies. So
Thank you.
thank you very much for watching along with me today. That was super cool again to host with Mitzi, and also obviously come back and see Erica. If you missed the first episode we did with Erica, it's on the YouTube channel. It's episode 5 of season 1, essentially. And I know you've waited around to the end to hear the exciting news. The exciting news is that season 2 of Hidden Treasures is on its way, and it's very soon. The first episode is going to come out on Tuesday, the 11th of April, at a new time, which is this time, 12:30 UK. And it's going to be an amazing first episode. We're going to be looking at snakes with the scientist Ian Brennan. So that's going to be really, really fun. And in the rest of the series, we're going to see how scientists prep fossils. And we're also going to have a look at some of the collections that you at home can actually come in and see for yourselves in person. But yeah, thank you so much for watching along, and thank you to Mitzi and Erica for showing me the collections. And make sure you go follow Mitzi on Instagram and Twitter. We've posted the links in the description. And if you enjoyed this, make sure that you like and comment on this video, and subscribe to the Natural History Museum YouTube channel to watch along with all the other content we're bringing you. And also check out season 2 of Hidden Treasures, which is starting in April. But thank you very much for joining us, and goodbye for now.